You're live.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Welcome to episode 110 of the ZZPerformance Power Hour. We're doing a W body build off with some of your favorite 3800 guys. I think we're just missing Mr. Matt.
Yeah.
But everybody here's had a 3800 build at some point in their life, or several. And yeah, we're going to let you guys build our cars today. So, Steve, you had an NIC Grand Prix back in the day.
I did.
Turbo Tim had a Turbo Grand Prix. Zoom's obviously the M90 King, still is.
And
I got beat. Zach, right?
Oh, yeah.
Zach Brunzing.
Brunzig?
Yeah.
Shout out to our...
At least he's a customer.
Yeah.
He is a local customer.
Got to.
Yeah, that kid did work really hard on doing that back in the day. We actually ran into him at 131, was it a year or two ago? And we had your car there.
Yeah.
We were just catching up, and Tim was talking to him. It was funny.
He's got a ridiculous ZR1 now.
Yeah,
like,
beautiful
potentially
car.
the fastest car in like this area. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it was just
he
super.
knows how to do it, apparently.
Yeah. I remember hearing stories about him running pizzas around in that car and then running 10s in it with a blower. I'm like, goodness, that is awesome.
That actually happened.
Deliver pizzas to pay for the mods.
Yep, open headers. Delivering pizza
commitment.
with open headers, yeah.
Why not?
Question number one, are we picking our color? Trevor, I missed it. Sorry.
Oh, did it scroll up too fast?
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't even see the options on this one.
Who gets the Pontiac Grand Prix Coupe?
Oh, right on.
Who gets the coupe?
Yeah.
Grand Prix Coupe
You're
up
picking
first.
Your body first. There, you should see that now.
Yeah. He's got to pick up all those kids he's going to have.
The Grand Prix Coupe is my favorite.
Mine too. I miss mine sometimes. On paper, I miss it, and then I get in one. I'm like, nah.
Especially when the coupe has the shaved door moldings.
Yeah,
they just look
they
so
look sweet.
smooth. I think it looks better than like the GTO of that era, you know?
Yeah, it's really like kind of got that vibe to it, but not quite.
Yeah, even the maroon Grand Prix that we have was sitting in the shop today, and I was walking by it a couple times. I'm like, man, that just is a good looking front end.
All right, Bo, you got the Grand Prix.
All right, I'll take it.
Next up, we're going for the Buick Regal GS.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
So I like the Regal GS because it's a little more sound. The Grand Prix really likes to be rattly and just like plasticky. The Regal is a little more refined, so that's one of the reasons why I went with the Regal nowadays. And not many people build the Regal. Zoom.
I'm going to wait out and hope that there's a Bonneville, and I hope I get it. Weight disadvantage, the nicest car of them all.
Is there a Fiero going to be in this pickup?
There might be. Thought about it. Probably not, because the last one is always the worst one, so we'll see what the last one is.
Tim's played before.
we always talked about like it was a bad move that GM never put the 3800 in a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like the Blazer of
like
the day.
a mid-sized truck,
Yeah, an
something
S10
like that.
or something with that would have been sweet.
Yeah, it would have been great. All, gobs of torque. It's just good economy.
Zoom's got the Regal.
We got a tie
Anybody got a bottle cap or a coin?
Ooh, it is 41.
between Zoom and Tim for the Regal.
You guys want to do
Arm wrestle, go.
He's got a bad arm, so I'm going to win.
I got nothing to flip, guys.
Right,
I don't either.
That's Zoom. Oh, shoot, it's the same on both sides.
Crack a Rona.
All right,
That's loud. I need a coaster.
We're flipping
Coasters
for
are
the,
loud too.
Zoom's
Flipping
tie.
for the tiebreaker.
Cloth coaster.
Goes to Tim.
Tim, you got
I
that
got
Regal.
the Regal. I'll take the Regal. It's a Regal GS, so that's cool. I'll take it. You know, I'm gonna have an intercooler hanging out the front bumper, but it's
Hang
fine.
down so low.
Like,
You got to trim the core support a little bit if you want it to be flush.
I liked our margaritas for lunch today. That made
It's a
Friday
nice
much
touch.
easier.
Yes, absolutely.
Monte Carlo
Dang.
Dale edition. You gotta give that to Steve.
Come on, don't do me like that.
Oh,
Is that because my mom had the Dale Earnhardt Monty back in the day?
did you?
The
Oh,
Dale
yeah.
Earnhardt
The black
one that's better than like the Tony Stewart one. Like,
Really? I like the Tony Stewart one the best.
No, you're fired.
No, that was what, black and orange.
Yeah.
It was like the more aggressive of the two.
The Dale one's
the gauge
pretty
cluster.
subtle.
All the numbers were also like the same font as the 20 number. It was,
That's kind of cool.
The Dale Jr.
Steve.
version is probably my
Sweet,
least
I got a
favorite.
Monte Carlo.
Zoom.
Steve, or Zoom, you have a rusted out 9C1 Impala. Which the 9C1 is very good.
What is the 9C1 Impala? How do I?
That's the police
Police
package.
package.
Police Interceptor.
So you got like the
All
sweet
right.
rubber floor and the hole where the spotlight used to be.
We
big
did. Matt,
radiator.
Matt would remember his name. We did an Impala. Actually, I don't want to remember his name and say what he did at the same
Yeah.
time. So good thing I don't remember his name. But we did an Impala like that for a guy to outrun the cops. Were you around, Steve?
No.
Yeah.
Heard
So
some of the stories when
he-
that was before my time.
he was running. Was it Sudafeds? Those little red pills or something that they make meth with, right? Yeah, our customers tell us a lot of shit, right? So he's running these pills, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I hit up all the whatever CVS's in the area, and you want to make some money, like run over to CVS and pick up stuff." This is before they had as many regulations, This is a long time ago, early ZZP. And he's like, "Yeah, I need full build. I need to outrun any cops if they hunt me down." He's like, "I do, this state has these rules and this state has this rules, and I can sell them over here for this much money." He wasn't into selling the meth and shit. He just supplied the Sudafeds, But it was an interesting guy, interesting story. And so, yeah.
Maybe
he
we
spent
don't
a lot
share
of
his
money.
name on the podcast.
Yeah, don't share his name. He spent a lot of money though, and we did like extra cooling mods on it because he wanted to be able to top speed it, which in a 3800,
Yeah.
that's asking a lot out of an Impala. So yeah, we
was
pulled
probably
the
still
boost
on-
down just a little bit and did
And it
some
was
extra
probably
cooling
still on
mods.
10-year-old all seasons. All
Yeah,
you
maybe.
3,800 guys, you know what I'm talking about.
We meet a lot of cool people, interesting characters.
All right, next up, Star Your Engines. Who gets JE pistons? I don't need them.
Don't need
Don't
him.
need them.
Yeah.
Stock engine's fine. Bo gets them.
Give him to Bo.
Or Zoom.
He likes to go
Bo
slow.
and Zoom, yep. Bo
I-
and Zoom.
Do I get to pick compression?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, that would be
Taking it
nice.
apart, so.
Some 10 to 1s, yep.
That is the nice thing about running the J's is the compression you get.
Well, you need it. The forged, it's not as tight, so they don't make the power.
Makes sense.
Let's go to Bo.
All right.
All right.
You guys gotta start fighting for this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the next option. It's
You're making it too
It's
easy.
much better.
I'm
Making
waiting-
it too easy. His 3800s don't need too many mods.
I'm just waiting for that turbo kit. All right, what's next?
The E-turbo. Someone give Tim an E-turbo. And put the whistles that go woo on it.
Remember when we bought that just to prove that the E-turbo supported enough airflow to idle. At full sing, it flowed enough air to idle a 3800.
All right. Next
missed that
option. It was stock bottom end L36, low mile.
I'm in.
I want it.
I'm in.
I want
I'm
it.
in.
Hey everybody,
That's my jam right there. That's a good.
Yep.
stop
a good
voting for
starter.
Zoom. Even though that was his secret weapon back in the day.
It's never going to work, Zoom.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
just going to break it. The rods aren't big enough.
Thrasher has a whole article up about
Yep.
why that won't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just going to fall apart the first time you put any boost.
Too much compression.
I
too
actually
small
saw that
rods,
today.
Too high ring-land on the pistons. It won't work.
I saw
Nothing
that
will
argument
work.
today on the 3800 Performance group. Some guy wanted to do a blower kit on his L36, and some new young professional hopped in there and told him how it's never going to work and he's going to break it, and you can't put boost on the L36 because you're going to break it. Did you see that this morning?
I didn't catch it.
Do you know
I
do
couldn't
you
even
remember
reply.
the first customer who got what did we call it? The SSM 90 kit or something like that?
Josh Knight.
Is that who it was?
Yep.
And I want to say he made 250
Yeah.
to the wheels with
Almost
larger
single.
than a stock pulley.
Yeah.
It was either a 4 or a 4.2, and he made
260, I think.
it was just
260
ungodly power. We couldn't figure out like how this car would
I
make so much
found
power.
out about ZZP from Josh. I raced him down Lake Michigan Drive, and when I just bought my GTP, and we pulled into the gas station together and started chatting and introduced ourselves and whatever, and then we ended up meeting up here, and that's how I got involved with the Michigan Grand Prix Club and found out about ZZP.
He's still
Weird.
around too. I run
Oh, yeah.
into him a few times this summer.
He saw us when we went for our walk at the park the other day, and he texted me and asked where we were all going in a hurry. We're all racing down the road on the way to the park.
That's cool.
Corey Davis, skip the
God, that
twin
was
charge, man.
20
Skip
years
it.
ago.
You don't forget you have a 3.8 liter. You do not need a blower to make that engine bigger for a turbo. That will spool
All right.
any
Next
adequate
How about a M112 twin charge?
Oh, man.
Yeah, no.
No.
Next
Don't do
option was L67 high miles. Runs good though. 300,000 miles runs good though.
it. I had nearly one of those. My
Nice and
97
loosened up for your turbo kit, you know?
My 97 GTP had 260,000 miles. We engineered the first SS790 on it. Remember that? My purple car, yeah, it had 260,000 and it ran 12.6 or something with like your borrowed drag radials from I think the GT.
It feels like the Bonneville 3800s always had the most miles. I don't know why.
Comfy cars. It's a good car to road trip 100 miles a day or whatever.
Harder to mod the Bonneville. All that shit under the hood.
Yeah. It's a huge area, but there's just stuff in the way where
Yeah,
it shouldn't be.
weird motor mounts
Yeah.
and it's just
The
different.
Bonnevilles had a lot more weight on the rear end too, which was kind of a disadvantage for traction.
It was a strange build. How they did didn't they do an aluminum hood or trunk or what? Wasn't something aluminum
Yeah,
on that
I think
car?
it was
Yeah,
a hood.
it's very, very light. It's
Yeah.
weird when you
But the
pick it up.
batteries under the back seat and
Yeah,
just
so much goofy stuff they did, and then they had that big cast iron engine mount that held onto that thing, and it's
Yeah.
like you could have just not done that and put a steel hood on the car. It's just a strange combo the way they did things. But I did rob the ignition coil bracket off of
Yep.
it because it's lighter, and then I redid the mounts on my car, and I saved quite a bit, like 8 pounds, I think, redoing the
And
coil
you get
pack.
more belt wrap.
Yeah, more belt wrap. You can run the one dog bone and get away with that. Yeah, it's a cool.
Because
upgrade.
Bonnevilles, their motor mounts are all underneath. They have no upper motor mounts, so everything's down low. So and they were super loose too because it was a Bonneville. You want it to be smooth. All right, who got it? I got it. All right, I'll take it. 300K. Yep. As long
why
as
do I get it? What's going on here?
Guy
Is
promised.
Red Storm saying what he's got on his car?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Not, and the thing is, like, congrats, but like, I'm not surprised. The 3800 is a great engine, and it will keep going. Mod it smartly and keep the oil changed. You're good. Maybe check out the push rods and the rockers because the push rods kind of wear into the rockers,
Yeah.
and it makes them short. So
Is Capslow going to give the airflow twister? Is that what the Tornado is? Is the Tornado an E-turbo, or is it the one that just twists the air?
yeah, that's the twist air one. The tornado. I think we might have played with those too back in the day. I think,
I don't
or
remember
we
that.
had a customer car came in with one that we took out, and then that kicked around the shop for a while. We had a Tornado.
Did you guys play with any of like the golf ball style porting?
Oh, the dimples?
Dimple.
I don't think
No,
so.
we never did.
No, I've never seen that.
It's just the same reason like they put the dimples in a golf ball. There's less surface area and it creates little air pockets so it can move through the air easier because there's less surface area on it. That's why a golf ball has dimples. It's not for grip.
I know it has dimples, and I know it travels farther, but I hadn't heard the less surface area part.
Yeah.
Because it would have more surface area if it had dimples.
Yeah, you're right.
I
Something
heard
about
that
the way the air
so
the air
It's
pockets.
like the air cushion that it makes over it takes up space. or
The air doesn't, from what I understand, isn't grabbing the ball as much. It doesn't stick to it because it's disrupting the air as it goes around it, and because of that disruption, the air as it breaks on the back side of the ball, it doesn't hang on as long. So if it's smooth, the air hangs on all the way till it meets again, and then breaks, and you end up with all this turbulence on the backside of the golf ball. But where it's dimpled, the air is not holding on to the golf ball, so it starts breaking before it gets back. At least that's what I saw in a YouTube video.
I've seen
Which I just saw because
We were
I'm
just
all
talking
into
about
the dimpled running socks, or actually biking socks.
same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
put some socks on the Grand Prix. With some dimple hubcaps.
There we go.
All right, exhaust.
What did we miss? Oh, Steve. Sorry, you got the. Oh, Steve. You have an L67 with a chip piston. It still runs though.
Aw.
Still runs though.
It's amazing how far those cars
Vented
will go with a
pistons.
chip piston.
Yes.
You know how many I've taken apart and been like, oh, well, when the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
Or
Equalizer.
no, yeah, it's fine.
Please give me the equalizer. I will sacrifice some power to have my car sound.
Are we
like
building
equalizer.
a cool car or are we racing at the end?
It's kind of just funny at the end when you
Well, I just want-
when you summarize them.
Open
all.
whatever headers so you guys can't drive very good if you have to plug your ears. With how terrible it probably sounds.
That happens. That might
Strategy.
happen. We're talking exhaust. Somebody's getting a rusted off, broken down,
Cracked stock
It's
manifolds.
probably the 4000.
Oh, was there cracked stock manifolds on there?
Close.
Oh,
Don't power wash your engine hot. Front
Or do
manifold
it.
won't like it.
It happens.
Oh,
Who got?
awesome!
Oh,
Amazing.
Bo got the equalizer. Darn it.
You guys are being good to me. I'm forged. I got a 2-door Grand Prix with an equalizer. Let's go.
Tell all your friends to join up the chat today.
yeah, no kidding,
apparently.
cheater.
This is a 3800 one. Like Bo's gonna own this one.
Yeah, unfair advantage.
Steve needs a fancy exhaust. because
Yeah, I got a
it's so
clapped out engine and a shitty car. Need some nice exhaust. What car do I have again?
Yeah, you got a chip piston, brother. You might as well just take
I
whatever.
don't have the
exhaust
shitty
you
car.
can
I got the
take.
Dale Earnhardt car. That's sweet.
You probably have a chip piston because you have a stock exhaust.
Who wants the ZZP headers?
I'll
Oh,
take
ZZP
ZZP
headers?
headers. I'll take those.
Who gets a U-bend delete?
Ooh.
That was the big mod back in the day.
Man.
At the track, you got the U-bend delete?
It was such a huge upgrade too. Like that downpipe, I cannot believe they did that from the factory.
I know,
Very
it's so
weird.
bad.
Just for the O2 sensor.
But that's what made our company is
It
GM
really did.
screwed so many things up. It's almost like we had a plant in there adding like shitty things to the car for us to undo.
Yup. Bad wiring, so we made wiring upgrades. Like that car, man, that car like made us just left so much on the table. That we
It's
were-
hard. It's hard nowadays. Like they make cars so much better than that. Like there's not weird
Yeah.
shortcomings like that anymore.
Well, it's like on your Gen 2
Not
Cruise.
as much. It's different.
yeah,
The
I mean, there's-
intercooler on your Gen 2 Cruise, it's pretty
huge.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it still sucks. There's
Yeah.
still room for improvement, but it's relatively big for what it is, for sure.
All right.
They recycled nickels for the front brakes on the Grand Prix, and then they gave the Monties the bigger brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
that was weird.
Yeah. That's
Why, right?
yeah, the Impala too, I think, got some.
Yeah, Impala had bigger brakes too. But why would you stock different part numbers and make your cars different? It just you could just standardize so much on the thing.
Like our 12-inch brake kit. Why didn't all of those cars come with that?
I know.
Like all of them should have got
Well,
the
and then-
12-inch dual piston caliper with the 12-inch rotor. Like,
Then you had like aluminum cradle in the Monty from 2000.
yep.
Why were they not doing that in the Grand Prix until
This
04?
stuff already exists. You're already have
bizarre.
the technology here. Just
Why didn't they pull? Do you know? Not only would people have made more horsepower, but how many less chip pistons if they pulled the U-bend delete or the U-bend out?
Yeah.
So the U-bend cost GM more money because it's some doodad whatever. You could have just figured out a way to do it straight. Cost you power, cost you reliability, and from the factory they could have done that mod. Which I mean, good for us they didn't, but
Yeah.
you know, it just would have been a better
how many
platform.
engines did GM warranty for people back in the day on these brand new cars?
Because when you're right on that edge, that's enough to make a difference.
All right, Zoom. Your police Impala is getting ZZP headers.
All right, I'll take those.
Yeah, Noah Hammock. Yeah, I'm the first employee. I literally was working for ZZP before I don't even know if
I don't think
ZZP
we
had a
were
name.
ZZP back then.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
like Zoom selling parts, and I was in his garage grinding exhaust manifolds.
With like a Napa air compressor and some hand Dremel stuff. That was a shit job, but yeah, you did it.
Like, you were like, I can't guarantee you full time, but I got enough to keep you busy this week. Yeah, there was never a week from that point on that wasn't
Never a
full-time.
day, never an hour, never a week, never a month. Since that day you started in the garage, you have never been able to be like, hey, there's no more stuff for me to do.
22? I think this year.
22 years?
Yeah,
Or something like
I
that?
think this year is 22.
Yeah.
Grinding manifolds was also my first job here.
Really?
$10 an hour.
Here you
I
go.
think
Grind
that's
these
what it
up
was,
and
what
go
it was.
weld
It
them up.
was
Yeah.
$10 an hour. Yep.
Grind
Cash,
these
though.
welds off. Yeah, cash money.
Yeah, that's
Good
good.
stuff.
But
That's
of
like
course,
12.
I didn't even see. What's the next one?
Oh,
Got it.
Right there, you got
Oh
it.
man, do it yourself straight pipe exhaust from your buddy that could do it cheaper.
Yeah, with a MIG welder, so there's all these pinholes and it's blowing soot and making noise all
Garbage.
over.
you're poor Regal. You're poor Regal.
So what? I just got stock manifolds then?
You have stock exhaust, rusted and broken muffler dragging from the hangers.
Yes.
On your Dale edition.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's lighter than what I have because you know all those muffler man exhausts, like that, the exhaust piping you get from those places is so heavy.
Half-inch thick aluminized pipe.
In a Michigan winter, they last like 3 years, maybe.
Yeah, it's like 10 gauge mild steel piping,
Full garbage.
3/16.
Crush bent.
Yeah. All right, next one. What's next? Where's that turbo kit?
We're going to suspension next.
Oh, okay. Suspension.
Yep.
Turns before you can make power.
The conies and a hollowed out factory strut. Remember that? Well,
hollow-
Bo, you wouldn't know anything about that. Yeah, so we
Modern cars sucked back in the day.
yeah, and nobody, no major vendors gave a crap about 3800, right? So in order to get conies in the Grand Prix, you would buy them for a Taurus SHO, and then you'd take a factory Grand Prix strut and you'd cut it and gut it out, and then you'd slip the SHO coney in the factory.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny. I ran into a Taurus show guy, the autocross we did at Grand Valley. I had the Regal there, and we were in the same class, and it's a big 4-door. I got the big 4-door. We're turning through cones and stuff, and he was taking his wheel off to change. I think he was changing tires or something, and I was looking in his suspension, and it was surprising how close it resembled a W body underneath that Taurus car.
Oh yeah, where is the nitrous? Nitro, bro. 50 shot.
All right.
I mean, I don't know what nitrous is, but I know what NOS is, and I'm in.
First up, ZZP coilovers and rear sway bar. Very good combo.
My
for-
muffler's dragging on the ground already. Like, come on, give me something good.
Might as well just slam it on its nuts, right?
Right. Give me the coilovers, knock the muffler the rest of the way off.
Hey,
Weight
someone's
reduction.
calling out the new HV intake. Did we showcase that?
We've mentioned
Did
it on
someone-
here before. I don't think
Did
we've posted
someone
anything
show a
with it.
picture of
I
it?
don't think so, no.
No pictures.
No, we're not doing that.
Not yet. We're really close.
To being done or showing pictures?
Both, I believe. I could be wrong.
Should we tease an early prototype? Should we show a 3D printed prototype?
Probably. I don't think there's any reason not to.
We should probably make a post about it.
Does the audience want to see that? You want to be the first customers to see this? I wonder if we show it, if someone will screenshot and post it somewhere.
You just told them to.
Yeah,
Let's tell them not to. Let's say,
I think
like,
we just continue.
you have to pay 10% extra. You get it last on the list if you put this in a form. No, just kidding. We've been teasing that product a long time. You know the guys.
It's been a long time coming for
You know they want to see it.
Steve-
Is Al in the
Yes.
building? Do we have a proto in the building?
No. We
Not
have
in the building?
not the current idea.
No,
for the
no.
prototype.
What about the old one? The short one, long one, the bolted together one. We've done some.
We've got a few. We've got the bolted together one and the.
What if we just show real quick?
It looks like this.
I do like the idea of like just having it on here because like the quality.
Bring
is
it up, Al. Is that
I
right?
hear stairs.
I do.
Somebody's running.
Let's just do it really quick. Unless it's like a super early proto, because then it's just gonna look like shit.
There's the door. What do we got? Ryan's got it. Oh boy.
Oh,
Here,
oh.
go it.
Pass them down and then hide them.
Well, That's already on camera. What? I'm sorry, man. Why do you hide it under your shirt or something? I don't know what this is.
That's the current
One of
photo.
the newer ones, and here's the 3D
That is
printed.
based on testing of the one in your hand right
Yeah,
now.
we actually,
Look at those bell mouths.
yeah.
Oh my.
So obviously very far from what we currently are working on, but this is all that is in this building. We're probably doing testing in another building. So yeah, you're the first to see the early version of what will be something really cool, but you get an idea of how cool it's going to be from what you're looking at. A lot of flow testing, a lot of theory.
Lots and lots and lots of testing.
A lot of work. And we were so close to not actually bringing it out. We were going to do a version that was very, very close to the HV3. And I won't get you into the drama because there was some with, I just won't go there. But there was some drama which resulted in us starting from scratch. And you saw, those are really old. The gray one.
Yeah.
That was
that's
the winner.
Yeah. So, yeah, lots of good shit to come. Cat
Slow, you're fired.
screenshot.
You don't even work here, but you're fired.
Tubular control arms and lowering springs.
Steve, you got coilovers, by the way.
Yep.
Rear sway bar.
I got something
Got a
good.
full hot
All right,
rod
yeah, I'll
rail.
take it. I'll
All
take
right.
it. I like,
Have you seen my last 19 cars? They're all slammed to their nuts on the ground. Perfect.
We had a guy that stopped in this morning who got in an accident with his Grand Prix. Actually, two guys tried stealing his Grand Prix, and he had to plow through them. Like, two cars were trying to block him in and, like, steal his car. And he had to plow through them and get out of there. And busted up his frame rail and everything. Like, the car was basically totaled by insurance, but he had inherited it from his dad, so he didn't claim it on insurance. He's been working on it all winter. But he had a ZZP tubular control arms on it. And he's the front right corner that took all the brunt was perfectly fine. The control arm's perfectly fine. He just replaced the Heim, and we gave him a couple other small this and that's today while he was putting it back together. But he was like, "Thanks for a good control arm."
he's not the first. Like, Greg,
things are
our
beast.
paint guy.
Our
Got
original
smashed.
tester with our early version control arm that has since been upgraded. But that early version, he got in an accident. That was why we started selling it. That was our final test, is him getting in an accident. But then it turned out control arms have stressors on them different than accidents under daily use.
Yeah, for sure. Tim, you got the tubular control arms and lowering springs.
I'm in.
All right, guys, what are you doing to me again? We got some.
You got lift kit? What do you
Yep.
Really? Oh, God. I was being funny.
Oh, the heightened springs. The
Bonneville Springs or whatever they are.
I thought that was the police
what are
package
they?
springs or something like
It's like
that.
If something like that.
Mail service car or something like
I mean,
that.
now you guys can put some rockin' subs in the trunk.
On some 30-inch wheels, bro.
30-inch wheels. A couple 15-inch subs in the back.
Have to 10-point turn into the parking lot.
Yeah.
Matt, you should probably buy a 3800 and put that HV insert in it. Boy, that's capped slow. All right, what's next?
You want to read off that last one, Bo?
Read the last one.
What one, bud?
What Zoom's getting?
For suspension.
Oh yeah, sorry, brother. Zoom for suspension. You got stock suspension. Rear is sagging. Front left is questionable noises.
That's okay. I'll use cables so I can drag race.
Heck yeah.
Perfect.
We don't go to the racetrack enough for people to even know probably what that mod is anymore.
So
Yeah.
much of
There's some good write-ups.
so many of these
on it
tricks are
still.
just gone, missing.
Yeah, that
We
was
could-
Matt came up with that one.
We could teach a whole new generation how to get their Grand Prix down the track. Just start over with everything we did 20 years ago.
Our website doesn't have, like, the tech articles are kind of difficult to get to.
Yeah.
It's not set up as well as some of our previous websites, and it kind of sucks because a lot of that stuff did kind of get lost.
We haven't put as much effort in the tech articles as and like the free mods and things like
Yeah.
that we used to, because we still do.
We
all
do a lot
kinds
of that. It's
little
just
cool
kind of
shit.
focused on like YouTube videos and stuff now. I mean, we still
Okay.
do a lot of the discussions. And
All right.
Matt,
Yeah.
I'm in. Matt, you know. You talk to Paul, you get that Sky Solstice Kappa bell housing, bolts right up to the 3800. Then you put that rear drive manual tranny in there, and then you have a 3800 powered S10. There you go.
We and Tim were talking in the office last week about putting a complete 3800 drivetrain in the back of an S10.
That would be cool.
And a complete 3800 drivetrain in the front of an S10, so that you had an all-wheel drive twin-engine 3800 S10, and even leave like both of them stock. And then we were going crazier with it. We're
For
like
a combined 400
We're like, what
horsepower.
if we bring the exhaust together, put it through one turbo, like one large turbo, or even better, we make like a double equalizer. We equalize both engines and then equalize that.
Was that before or after the margaritas today?
We were just coffee, man. It was
What about a Ferrari mod? Just do 12 into one.
yeah, basically, it was just
It would be fun.
intercooling.
But
Let's
the timing
go.
would be so off between the motors, the exhaust would have to sound like shit.
I don't know.
It wouldn't be even. Your firing would have to be, unless you were running off of the same. Well, you couldn't run off the same ignition because the balancer.
You'd have to
your
equalize the
timing-
equalizers.
Yeah, that's what
I mean,
that's
you would definitely want to.
You
wanna
couldn't
control
control
them
the
separately.
RPM. You couldn't match the RPM of the motors exactly. So yeah.
It
Without
sounded like the old GPG meets going down.
I think I would
one
just
car.
run twin turbo, one turbo per engine, and then just bring them together into one exhaust pipe. That'd probably sound pretty sweet. I mean, there's that Grand Prix guy that did it.
Yeah, we were just laughing how well it would probably work with the same PCM on the same PCM file. They would probably work together better than they should.
Yep.
We could do like one of our stock 1.4 turbos, but do 6 of them on a 3800.
Anyways,
kind of a goofy looking thing.
did you see that Mustang with the 8 turbos on it? It was
No.
floating around social media a year or two ago.
Did it work?
Eh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go with eh.
Did they sequential any of them, or was it all?
They were all individual primaries, and then they fought each other and stuff like
Yeah,
that. It was a mess.
One thing I learned is keep the minimum amount of turbos possible, because you don't even know when a turbo is not keeping up with the other turbo.
Yeah,
you don't
basically
know.
one of them ends up doing all of the work, and the other ones can't spin.
Huh. So Zoomer gets the Stage 2 intercooler package. Intercooler is my favorite mod. I love installing it. I love plumbing it. I love hooking it up. And the gains are incredible.
Every other factory boosted car is intercooled except the 3800 for some reason. So it's like you add this mod that just bolts on 50 freaking horsepower.
My friend had a sweet 40th, and I got him to buy our Stage 2 intercooler. It was right when I first started here. And he had 1.9 rockers and an intercooler, and his car kept up with my NIC cammed, non-intercooled header, obnoxious, shaky, loud, crazy car. And he had quiet stock exhaust on it, just intercooler and rockers. I'm like, what the
We had
hell?
people that ran 11s, intercooled rockered.
Steve Mays did 20 years ago.
Yep.
Well into the 11s.
Yeah.
Yep.
I always hear I don't know if it's true or not, but everybody's like, they didn't put an intercooler on the 3800 because it made more power than the Corvette.
What did the Corvette make in '97?
I think the Z06 for 2000 was rated at 405.
The Z06 was. The base model ones were, what are they, 350 or something?
Yeah.
Whatever now this one is.
It's still way over
Yeah.
240.
Yeah. An intercooler put you at maybe
I've heard
300.
that same thing said about a lot of things, though.
Yeah.
They just say
I think
that.
somebody's uncle or grandpa
That's
told
what I
them
said.
some
Take it
story
with a
that
grain
they
of salt.
had figured out in their head, and now it's true.
I'm convinced GM's full of saboteurs in each program.
I'm not against that.
I heard that the entire transmission plant was going to sabotage all the stuff because electrics don't use transmissions and they didn't want to lose their jobs. So they were doing whatever they could to sabotage programs. Well, in one drive, we got that ELR. It's kind of, I like it. I like driving it. I like the concept somewhat. It's just not put together well.
Yeah.
That's another one that feels like someone sabotaged a great car.
Yeah, all the ideas are there. Everything is good. The concept's good. They just shitty execution on the whole thing.
Do you drive it in low?
I didn't notice difference. Ryan told me to put in low. I couldn't tell the
The
difference.
regen is higher in low.
I used the paddle to
Oh,
do the
okay.
regen.
Well,
maybe that's why I didn't notice.
Yeah, that's why
but,
you don't notice.
I don't even understand the regen because the battery range goes to 0 and just stays at 0 no matter what
Yeah.
you do.
When it gets to 0, it doesn't really regen from there.
Well, the regen still works when it's at 0. So
Yeah,
I don't
and-
know what's going on with that thing.
Every once in a while, it'll like charge itself enough to like use the battery for like a few seconds, and then the engine will come back on. It is kind of weird.
Okay.
Like it's very weird. Like I don't understand why they put the regen on paddles on that car. Like it should just be when you let off.
I don't know why it's so loud either on the motor.
Yeah,
Short stack intercooler for my 2-door Grand Prix.
that's
Aw,
good upgrade
I want
too.
the short stack.
That's a good product. I wish I had more time to screw around with the new short stack.
In what way? Just the whole thing?
Yeah, like I like the product. It's so much easier to fit under any car, under any hood. You know, you don't really have to modify much. You know, because the stage 2, you've got a bigger fuel rail issue.
Hood
It changes
clearance.
a lot
If you
more.
got an SD hood or something, it's
Yep.
gonna rub. You know.
Yeah, you just got to
sometimes-
use cradle spacers or
Sometimes good enough is good enough, and the short stack is definitely good enough for a
it's-
lot of
it's-
people.
So the short stack is an inch, and the stage 2 is 2 1/4 inches, right? But you do not get twice the gains.
No.
You don't get double the gains going from nothing to stage 2 versus nothing to short stack. Short stack will give you 60% probably,
Probably or better.
and
Yeah.
it's less than half of the size. You know, so
I even had a short stack intercooler underneath the factory engine cover and like hid the hoses a little bit. So if you weren't actually looking, you couldn't tell the car was intercooled. Had the Volkswagen radiator at one time, so you couldn't see the heat exchanger
That's
either.
what I had too. I had
Full
a
stealth.
short stack with a 1/4 inch phenolic spacer underneath it on my NIC car with a Volkswagen heat exchanger up front.
Yeah. North Star throttle body fits under the engine cover too. You
What?
can basically have like a
Funny you mentioned the phenolic spaces.
Hey, look at that.
yeah.
Hey, I actually love that product, and that product's kind of underrated. Like a phenolic spacer is an awesome product.
for that car,
Yes,
That is
especially
in-
once you have like an intercooler drawing the heat, wicking the heat out of
Yeah.
the blower itself. Like if
the
you,
blower is like frosty.
yeah, you
Yeah.
put a phenolic spacer under your intercooler, like make a 1/4 mile pass, put your hand on the blower. It's cold, ice cold.
Yep.
Not ice cold. That was an exaggeration.
Phenolic spacer is like
Cool.
every car should have that.
For sure.
I wish that we were able to do the phenolic lower half on the intercooler, but that just never seems to work out.
Every material had such a drawback.
Yeah.
You know,
But
when
the-
we used the plastic, it was great in so many ways, but the expansion contraction, you could never get it to stay sealed because it just didn't work with the aluminum, other stuff. And then when you did the other phenolic, it would get waterlogged or
Yeah, the
oil soaked, or,
yeah,
you know,
get all
chip easily.
gooey, and then the other one was too glass based, and it would chip or crack when it got hot, and
Yeah.
just too high failure rate.
Sebastian, the phenolic is, I'm going to, really break it down basic, but phenolic is basically like wood, and it's just machined wood that you put. So it's like
It's
a thermal
layered.
barrier.
It's layered. It's like a layered,
Yeah.
like kind of like fiberglass, but
I'm overly simplifying it, but like it's basically it's a thermal barrier between two metal things that wick heat from each other. So it's just your blower temp. I've never actually laser gunned it, but I would imagine your blower could easily be like 75 to over 100 degrees potentially cooler just putting a phenolic spacer in.
I would believe all of that.
The motor runs, let's just call it 200 degrees, and the heat rises. So all the heat from your motor goes up and into the supercharger, and
no, that's instantly 200 degrees, assuming.
Supercharger gets
Yeah.
hot. And people thought the supercharger was getting hot because it was running, but actually most of the heat was coming from the engine soaking up into it. And so when you put a piece of wood or plastic or whatever your barrier is going to be, which is what we call phenolic spacer, it prevents the engine heat from getting into the blower. And then if you put an intercooler, which is also made of metal, above the phenolic spacer touching the supercharger, any heat from the supercharger goes into the intercooler, which is blocked from heat from the motor, and then it would just wick it out at the intercooler radiator, and everything would just be, you know, close to ambient temperature.
So if you had no hood clearance issues, like an amazing combination would be like a full-size intercooler with like a 1/4-inch phenolic spacer. Obviously, most cars can't support that. You know, you'll hit your hood. But you know, like maybe a SS intercooler with a 1/4-inch phenolic spacer, you know, that would be a pretty awesome combo. And then you're only 1.25 inches above stock.
You used to go to meets, and everyone would have a bag of ice sitting on top of their supercharger at the 3800 meets and drag racings, because there's just everything just runs so hot in that vehicle in non-intercooled status.
Wrapping up the intercooling, Steve, you got leaking intake gaskets
I got hosed.
and a throttle body spacer, brother.
Cool.
Who gets the air-to-air? Who gets the air-to-air M90
I have to
intercooler?
That would have been funny, actually.
put a skateboard in the trunk of my car so I could get to work on time.
The guys in Australia literally take the blower, they kick it on its side, they pump the air out of it into like through charge pipes to a front mount intercooler like a turbo car, and then plumb it back to the engine. They
It
literally
works
do
like
this.
crap.
It's
Works
terrible.
like it doesn't work really.
The Ford Thunderbirds did that from the factory. The M90
Wow.
Thunderbirds back in the day, in
There's
the
a-
early 90s.
There's a guy on the Facebook groups who has an upside down M90, and it sounds crazy.
It is insane.
Yes.
It is the loudest thing you've ever heard.
But it's the
In a
same
good way.
theory. He ran it through an air-to-air. He literally flipped it over, made like some weird intake piece, and it just goes through an air-to-air. But the blower still sits where it's supposed to be. It's just upside down. He's got an equalizer on it too, so the car just makes noises you've never heard before.
Connor Murphy, no, we have never done it. We've discussed the idea of the interchiller. The interchiller uses your AC to like cool your intercooler fluid to like help your liquid to air intercooler setup, but I don't know.
Steve,
I mean,
you got yourself a cold air intake,
All
bud.
right.
you're putting a bunch of heat into the engine by running the AC. You're creating a bunch of condensation and water. So if you go to the drag strip, you're dripping water. And
They
pissing
will
off the
boot you.
track
I've
officials.
got my ATS-V. They tried kicking me out for the AC running, and I didn't even have it on. It was just whatever the car did ran the AC at like 10%. It was just enough to drip water.
Yeah.
And they told me to figure out how to shut it off or get out.
Yeah. So
That was-
I've never really been a fan of the interchiller. I like the idea behind it, but like I don't like the idea of putting extra heat into the engine, working the engine harder to cool your
Yeah,
intercooler.
you're just moving the heat from one thing to another.
There's
It's
another-
energy. It's got to be relocated, moved, taken care of somehow. Now your radiator's hot. Your fans have to work overtime to keep everything cold.
The other mod is the CO2 intercooler chiller.
Yeah.
Generally no bueno. You're adding a bunch of weight to the vehicle, but worse than that, CO2 is not combustible, so you're displacing oxygen. So you spray this all over, and then you're sucking up non-combustible.
We put it on my turbo car back in the day, and I lost 40 horsepower because then all that CO2, like it made it to the air filter. So yeah, it's not a great
Or
idea.
you could just spray nitrous at the intercooler and be like, I don't have nitrous. I don't know what you're talking about. If it's
Few
under the
people have
hood.
done it.
I like your idea, but like forget that even. Like my thought is like if you're gonna do it, put a nitrous kit on the car and then just squirt like a 15 shot, like a 15 horsepower shot straight into the intake. Like that's gonna do way more cooling and give you way more performance than cooling your intercooler down. That's cooling the air that's flowing through it down.
That's already 100 degrees because it's hot outside.
Yeah, like just teeny little 15 shot of nitrous.
Tim's rocking the 4-inch ZZP fender well intake.
I'll take it.
Super underrated intake if you're on a budget.
All the noise, I'm in.
Yes, for sure. Very noisy in a good way.
Oh, correct me if I'm wrong here for the audience. If you put a stage 2 intercooler on a bone stock Grand Prix and you do not change anything, including the tune, I believe you pick up 16 horsepower. I think.
That
Am
rings
I
a
wrong?
bell.
Am I wrong, Bo?
That's no, I can answer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 16 horsepower.
I'm just blown away.
And the reason I bring that up, well, because you're not changing boost. You know, you're not changing timing. You're not changing anything. You're just cooling the air. And the
Well, you
reason
are
that
changing timing by getting a colder air charge. It allows you to maintain, I guess. It
That's what
prevents
I
the
would
computer
say.
from pulling timing.
Yep.
But if you're stock pulleyed in good fuel, it's not pulling timing anyway, and it doesn't know the air is cooler because it's post math. So,
That's true, yes.
All things being equal, I remember bone stock, you gained 16 horsepower. And I was actually surprised you gained that because you're not changing the airflow because you're spinning the blower at the same speed. But point being, think about that. If cooling the air by 100 degrees gives you a 16 horsepower gain, how much is left by chilling the radiator or chilling the air a little bit? Like there ain't much left. Like the intercooler's gains come from the fact that you can add boost and timing.
Yeah.
So typically it's pretty easy to gain, say, 50 horsepower from a stage 2 intercooler install because you can add boost and timing. So
Absolutely.
And one thing I like too is it reduces heat soak. So you don't just gain that horsepower for 5 seconds of a gear. Like you gain, like by the time you're through 2 or 3 gears, you that's like double that. Bo trying to
Enjoy your Spectre intake,
Just run them
Bo.
through the air intakes. Steve got the cold air ZZP. Tim got the ZZP fender well. Zoom got a drop-in air filter.
Bo's got
My
Spectre's
airbox is
finest.
gone, but I ran by AutoZone real quick and picked up a filter to strap on there.
Are you guys all ready for the round that matters?
Yes.
Oh,
This is
God.
it.
what do we got?
Prep your builds. This is the power mods.
So it's time to start speaking up.
suspense.
Intrigued.
Gotta be more worried about the last 2.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody should speak up on this one.
I don't know, Steve. Do you have an answer for Connor there on the cats?
They come and go. It's just a slow supply chain issue.
I didn't know
I would
we were out
imagine.
of them.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I mean, it happens regularly. We run out and then we get a pallet or 2 of them in, and then they run out again.
It's not
so.
a welding issue. It's a
No,
it's a
I don't think
cat
so.
issue.
Yeah.
Well, first up, ZZP Statima Turbo Kit. I have the Forbes engine. I would appreciate that. You guys are mixing it up a little bit because we just did intakes, but you know, I'll throw my AutoZone air filter in the trash and put that Statima kit on right away. Looks like Tim's running away.
Statima kit on a chip piston, old 3800.
I mean,
Might work better than you think.
keep voting for me, please. I will
Leave
take
that spark plug
See what
out.
happens.
I'll take the. Is this now a good time for you to tell them what Statima means?
Do I know what Statima means?
I don't know. It's something Matt. Like I don't know where Statima came from. I know it's Matt. I know it's from way back.
Yeah, I think, was it
You
a
don't know
nickname
these
or was it a combination?
Something like that. I'm sure everybody would love to know.
Tim with the
I would
Statima
love to
Turbo
know.
Kit.
Thank
It's
you.
I don't know.
it's a heck of a turbo kit. That is, we were just talking about that yesterday, how efficient that thing is. Just makes power like not even trying. Like a cam in that kit on teens worth of boost is 500 wheel horsepower.
Next up is the ZZP Z3 Turbo Kit.
Ooh, Z3 Turbo Kit. Yeah, that's also an awesome option.
I'll take
Matt
personal
just chimed
favorite.
in. Matt Meekoff just chimed in. It was his nickname from
Yeah,
high school.
okay.
Because it had
Nickname,
that
yeah.
backwards in it. I had a feeling.
They called him Statima?
Interesting.
So what does Statima mean, Matt?
Yeah.
There's
yeah,
a mat
that's
in there
awesome.
somewhere.
Can you
It's a
elaborate?
backwards mat inside out with letters mixed. I don't know. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'll take that Z3 kit.
Z3 be sweet.
I
Probably not
really
gonna-
like the Z3 kit.
Probably not going to explode your transmission on the first hit with a Z3 kit. So unless
I mean-
there's a tranny as a next mod, then
It's a really. I was just looking at it the other day. It's like $3,400, and you can have the full swap with an intercooler, and the results you get with that are just so good.
Bo got the Z3.
Lovely.
holy crap. There you go, man.
Yeah.
Next up, down to the last 2. Looks like Zoom and Steve fighting for a Gen 5 blower with a pulley of your choice.
Ooh.
Oh,
Well, I can't choose a pulley without knowing what cam I have, though.
no, you just put the smallest one on regardless of anything.
There we go.
2.8 is what the cool kids run. I
255, bro.
I once made a post that said if your pulley doesn't fit in the cup holder of your Grand Prix, then you're slow, and anything 2.8 or smaller fits in the cup holder of a Grand Prix.
Yeah, you're gonna need an intercooler for that.
Oh, Steve, if Zoom pulls away with the Gen 5, you're not going to like how your Miller Earnhardt Monte Carlo's going.
I already don't.
But it
I
doesn't matter
clearly
because you're doing it for Dale.
I'm doing it for Dale. Yes.
Oh, I got the Gen 5 blower.
That's your blower of choice anyway.
I got an M62 swap or something stupid, don't
Nope,
I?
you have an NA swap.
Yes! Even better.
You basically couldn't afford to redo the supercharger.
So reverse top swap.
Yeah, you had an intake laying around or something. I don't know.
Cool.
You're just trying to be unique.
I just want to be different. I just want to be different, guys.
Trying to get to work at this point.
Did it come with a bus pass?
What's up? Transmissions?
That's it. We're gonna end there.
Okay.
Read them off. See who's
Alrighty.
the best.
From the top, we have myself with a Grand Prix GTP. On that Grand Prix GTP, it is a coupe.
Oh, choose your colors too.
I'm going to go with white. Always like the white ones. Don't see them a
Took
lot
my
either.
car.
Yeah, the white, not everybody does the white. Anyway, Grand Prix GTP 2-door white with a forged JE piston ZZP rod engine. I am rocking a Z3 turbo kit. Well, this doesn't make sense. I got an equalizer kit. Power logs. That doesn't line up. And I also have a short stack intercooler with that Z3 turbo kit. So that's interesting. Maybe I'm running a block off plate. We'll call it that.
You got a gutted M90.
Makes
It'll be
sense.
fine.
I do have rear heightening springs, so I can get all that weight on the front tires though. So turbo kit, short stack intercooler, rear heightening springs, and some power locks on a forged engine. All right. Tim's rocking a Buick Regal GS.
All right.
He's missing the airbox. Or nope, read wrong. 4-inch fender well intake. From there, Tim has a 300,000 mile junkyard runs good L67. Pretty underrated, honestly.
A lot of ring gap.
Yep. Tim, he DIY'd the exhaust because his buddy, he pulled some favors. He did save up for that 1/4-inch phenolic spacer. Real big cooling mods for Tim over here. But he decided that he did need some ZZP tubular control arms and lowering springs. So, that's cool. And then at the end of the day, Tim decided to put a Statema kit on the car. And see what that 300,000 mile L67 could do.
And it loved it.
Steve. We got
Give it to me.
a Monte Carlo Dale Earnhardt edition.
Black.
Number 382. I don't know how many they made, but yours is 382.
Perfect. I love that number.
You do have a ZZP cold air intake.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it sounds good.
It works really good with my reverse top swap.
By the way, in case you were wondering, I think they made about 50,000 of those.
I know why you NA swapped it, Steve. You chipped a piston.
Right.
Your L67 high mileage chip piston. You just decided to put an unnaturally aspirated intake on it, so you couldn't buy a new engine, whatever. The lower intake though, you reused your lower intake gaskets and they're leaking after
Dang
that
it.
intake swap. But
I knew I forgot something.
you did remember the throttle body spacer.
Well, you gotta have the important stuff on there.
Yep. And Zoomer, rusted out 9C1 Impala. She put in some miles in the police force, but Zoom picked it up cheap. He's going to mod it with a ZZP drop-in air filter on a stock airbox.
All I could afford.
Zoom did find a stock bottom end low mile L36 for the car. And he bolted on some stainless headers and a full ZZP exhaust. From there, the stock suspension is still sagging and is making some questionable noises. But he did find a Gen 5 blower for that L36 as well. So it's pretty dang good runner.
And he got that stage 2 intercooler.
And the stage 2 intercooler, pardon me. So yeah, you're top swapped L36 Gen 5
Still waiting on the
blower.
heads.
Yeah.
I think Zoom's up there with top dog.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tim's gonna break his engine. I'm gonna be the only one that shows up to work on time with good old reliable reverse top swap.
Hold my beer, Steve.
So what are you all doing with your builds? You racing it? You dailying it?
Yeah, I'm gonna daily mine.
Definite daily. I don't have much of a choice.
I'm gonna road course race it because you guys say I can't.
I got your coilovers. I can race. I can autocross.
It's definitely medium golf blue metallic.
I think although Zoom's rusted out Impala, it is rusty. I think he's got the best build. I like the 9C1 Impala.
I think he's got the funnest sounding build.
Yep.
A rowdy blower car.
You can just take care of that suspension. You'd have a pretty good
You don't need suspension.
drag racing.
You don't need suspension. Just jam some wood in between the springs.
I would like to find a 9C1 Impala for a winter beater. They had a lot of cool options. Oil cooler, tranny cooler, 329s, brakes. What else?
Bigger
Steel
radiator.
plates in the seat.
And then the bigger radiator.
Yeah, radiator. I think maybe some kind of strut. Was there a strut combo in there?
Maybe.
I know it had the GMPP sway bars.
Didn't it have bigger tires and wheels on it or something? Like
had
wider
the-
wheels
I
and
do believe so.
Had the
yeah.
boxed trailing arms in the rear, not the stamped ones.
They came full bolt on.
It's kind of
They were FBO from the factory.
Isaac Beast. We literally did exactly what you just mentioned. We put our Z04 turbo on a 100% stock cruise.
Yep.
And it was great. So, obviously you need a tune, the Z04 with a tune, but you can put it on with no other mods.
Yep. Check out our cruise build series on YouTube, Isaac.
Yep.
That is literally video number 1, I believe. Our video number 1 is dyno, and then from
Yep.
there is number 2 is turbo.
Yeah, and the next thing after that to save for would be an intercooler. That would be like the next thing to do, but yeah, I mean, it's great. It'll renew your love for the car, I promise you. The stock turbo is so restrictive on that car. It's terrible. It's so restrictive that it causes the car to valve from the factory. Like, better turbo.
Yeah.
When are you guys going to build a Bonneville SSCI?
Whenever Tim buys one. Tim's the
Again.
Bonnie guy.
Don't tempt me.
Again,
If
Don't
you can
tempt me anymore.
send
Tim had a
I
sweet
cannot-
SSEI with XPZ cam and ported heads.
Yeah,
and
it was pretty sweet.
quiet exhaust. Like, that was a sweet car.
It was.
Tim, how many Grand Prix vehicles have you owned in total?
I've owned about
62.
5? I think 5 3800 vehicles.
So about the same as every platform.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
Pretty close.
That is funny. I've owned multiple of every one of our vehicles and every platform.
Dang, I've only ever... No, I had 3.
Oh, no, I only have one ATSV, I guess, so
You
that's
had
it.
2, right?
Well, technically I did have 2 ATSVs. The first one was a swap-a-lease, and then the second one we actually bought. So yeah, I've had 2 ATSVs, I guess.
It's quite the badge.
that poor car.
It's up the challenge. That one.
Somebody bought that from the dealer. Oh, it was just a lease.
We've had some cars come back around that we thought maybe we had worked on or sold. There was a Grand Prix where the pulley fell off, and I'm like, I wonder if that was something that...
Just smile and nod. Pretend that we don't know what you're talking about.
Well, whatever questions you guys want to answer in the chat, else wrap it up whenever you feel ready.
Dairyland, 91 octane, yeah. It's going to hold you back a little bit, but like, you can only run what you can run, so we can tune around whatever fuel. If you have 91, we just can't turn it up quite as much, but all your neighbors have the same disadvantage, so no worries. And then, best way to do with an old stock turbo with the wastegate problems. You just got to get rid of it. Like, you're going to spend so much money trying to re-bushing the wastegate flapper arm shaft. Just get a different turbo. The stock turbos are terrible anyway. I mean, some are better than others, but just get a slight upgrade turbo and you're good. What else do we have
Best mods for O2 Monty. Like we previously mentioned, that U-bend leader, just a downpipe.
It depends on the budget. Like,
Yeah.
what you're going to do if you're going to spend 500 or less is a lot different than if you want to add a power adder.
Yeah,
We have
O2
we have a good top 5 mods on the NA 3800, I believe.
Yeah.
So check that video out on our YouTube for sure.
Watch
A lot
that
of-
video for
A lot of good
sure.
information there.
Tune, downpipe, in our HV insert when we release it, those 3 things are magical on a NA car.
Spark plugs, thermostat.
Set of rockers if you don't want to do a cam are worth about 10 horsepower or so. You wake it up pretty good, pretty cheap.
Yep.
Cool.
All right,
Cool, man.
we're after 5.
Well, thanks for tuning in, guys, for the 3800 build off.
Thanks for building me a turd.
Well, Steve,
I'm pretty happy with my build, so.
yeah, I can't disagree either. I got a Forge engine, a Z3 turbo kit, and a 2-door. I would take that. Steve, you got the short end of the stick, unfortunately. It is what it is.
Arguably the best looking car, though.
All right, everybody, have a good weekend. Thanks for
See you
tuning in.
guys.
See ya.
You guys are dicks.